Right, looking to see if... What's this? Sign into chat. Just gonna go in. Not sure if you guys can hear me. I'm just signing into the chat. I haven't done this in ages, and there's a whole huge number of things you have to do, obviously. $0. In. Create to my phone. Sorry guys, this is not meant to be sexy, it's just early morning and open the YouTube app. And now see if I get it. Waiting for the thing to load me in. Let's try one more time. There we go. Finally, yes, it's me. Cool. Right now. Alright, there we go. We're in. Okay, first of all, obviously you want to check the sound is working, video looks fine, screen is fine, so it's just a question of the lag and the quality of the sound. Let me see what's on YouTube as well. Not here, let's move you over there. Let's go into YouTube. What's in my thing? And on my channel. Excuse me. We are live. We are live. What's happening? There we go. Let's see. There we go. There we go. Let's see. There we go. There we go. Let's see. There we go. Okay. So, there's about a 5-second delay, maybe, on the whole thing. Anyway, right, let's have a look. What am I doing here? First thing I'm going to do is go through the markets. So, I like TradingView because I can see stocks, commodities, everything, anything. So, first thing I'll do here is check out the dollar index. Boom. What's the story here? So, I've got a 15-minute on the left hand side, daily, and then a weekly. I have found a sweet spot for me. The 15-minute is the time frame I'm looking to take trades on. The daily and the weekly give me that extra sense of orientation of where I would expect the 15-minute to most likely go. That being said, sometimes you can just trade the probability to success if you are trading the same direction as the daily. Hi Osman, how you doing? Cool. So, alright, starting off here with the dollar index, we've got a change of trend. This little level here is a key level to pay attention to. I also, I have preset colors. Let me sort my dog out. I'll be right back. Come here. Come inside. Okay, alright. I'll come get her just now if she wants. Sorry guys, but this is how it goes. Okay, so the point here is that this was a downtrend. Then it's gone sideways. This is effectively an inverse head and shoulders, which is a change of trend. It's broken up through here. So this is what I'm looking for. I am looking for... Now, I'm not going to trade the dollar index. I am likely going to also want to just change some stuff, just creating some presets, style. I'm going to do this, is my style, and save it as 15-minute. I'll call it path, doesn't matter. The reason I do this is the color will tell me that it's a lower time frame line, because there's nothing worse than on your chart. You've got a line there and you don't know if you can delete it or not, if it was a temporary drawing. So I color code them that way. I know that it's on the 15 minutes, but also potentially label it that way. So go ahead. There's no option to add texture, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, so now if I'm cleaning up the lines on my chart, I know which ones are on the 15 minute. Here's my thing. Dollar index broken out. This is important because this impacts all the markets. So dollar index is broken out. In the past, it's gone as far as this and still falling back in. So we haven't really got there yet. We haven't got past that yet. But it's still a lot further than it's been in the last year. And we have a lot of highs here. So we've got a serial low, high, high, low, high, high. Now I think what it's doing is it wants to come back here, test this as support, turn around and keep going. Which makes sense because when you go here, you're in a very nice little sweet spot here. Come on. My dog, she's on wheels. So it comes back into the highs here. It's testing it. Yeah. Come on. Okay, you ready? Oh, there we go. Oh, yeah. Wow, here we go. Don't start your shit. Don't start. Okay. So, even though technically there is a lower high, lower low, this is still broadly bullish. This is what someone might call a bull flag. Okay. A bull flag. So again, I'm just going to do this. Just put that on current interval and below. Here we go. And so I'm looking for a break to go higher. Now, does it have to do this? No, it doesn't. But it is actually the most likely thing that's going to happen. Hi. Nice to see you again. Is the sound okay, guys? Can you hear me all right? Don't mind my dogs barking. They're barking at the pedestrians. People walking their dogs in the country roads in the morning. Let me know if the sound is okay. Otherwise, I can switch to a different microphone. So yes, nice to see you again as well. So anyway, so we pull back in. So this is important because I used to stress about this kind of thing, this lower high, lower low, which was a change of trend. But actually the 10 and 20 here, we're still within that. And actually that is a good sense of the average of price and it's still heading higher. So far, all of this to me looks like it has the potential to turn around. Now my expectation is probably this week that it's going to happen. Where would we see that? We would see that on the 4 hour. And that's what's interesting is when you go to the 15 minutes, we're seeing a change of trend. We've seen it. Now, if all of this stuff is right, this will continue upwards. This will continue upwards. But if it isn't, in other words, if it's that's the most likely outcome. But if it's not going to be that, then it'll likely go up and then maybe come down and collapse again, and that's fine. So as a day trader, we're really only concerned with what do we think is most likely going to happen today. That's it. What do we think is most likely going to happen today? No more. We're not responsible for anything beyond that. So we just have to pick whatever's moving, see if it's overextended. If it still has juice, then it's probably going to keep moving. If it's ranging, it's probably going to stay ranging. It's only like 3-4 hour candles. And in fact, if you're doing a day trading session, it's like 1 4-hour candle. So we can't expect everything to change a lot. So having said that, my expectation is that this week the dollar will strengthen. I can see it's attempting to climb now, but it's currently pulling back. So that means that within the next 2 hours, it's probably going to come down and turn around. So I'll keep an eye on it. I'll keep an eye on it. And so I have a full list here. I've got all the Forex pairs, and then I've got my day trading list. So the dollar index is only there as a point of reference. Okay. Usman, you should be able to hear me. Okay, so let me just recap that. I'm expecting, depending on how long we do the trading for, I'm expecting this to turn on and strengthen. So that means that some of the majors I'm expecting to weaken. Okay, so if I quickly go here, have a look at those, that means that euro dollar should be looking for bearish setups. So it's busy pulling back. So what am I looking for? I'm looking for something like this. Okay. I'm not going to trade it up. I'm not going to do that because it's very tricky to predict where it's going to go up and turn around. It could stay here and then go down. You can't do that. So I'm not going to counter trend trade it. I'm going to wait for it to go up and then head down. But it's on my watch list. Cable. Cable's got a really nice little bit of a sub level here. A little bit of a mini thing here. That's actually not bad at all. So pulling in here, producing a bearish candle, great. So put it on the watch list. I'm not going to trade them all. I'm going to monitor them, and if I see a setup that I like, with the candles nice and small, so the reward to risk is decent, I'm going to go with that. Okay. Aussie dollar. Great. Very nice downtrend. Still looking a bit bearish here, still below that trend line, so still overall bearish. So, again, because also there's that danger that it might ultimately fail. That's another reason why I'm not going to trade all of them. But I do like the look of them. Aussie dollar is actually great because it's the angular momentum is much steeper. And the pound is quite strong at the moment. So again, I'm putting that on the list. It's on the list. Okay, so it's quite a lot to look at today. Kiwi as well. Great. Very cool. So let's have a look and see if there's anything there. There's a bit of a level there. Okay. So again, I would do a fib. I'm just looking for confluence here, guys. I'm looking for things that overlap. And it's interesting. There's a bit of a level here. So you might have something there. But if you zoom out, there's definitely a level there. So if you do that, there's another level here. But if you do that one, for example, no. Okay, so not there. Sorry, let me just have a look at this stuff. Bring this stuff down to there. Yeah, so it might find it wants to come all the way back up here and continue down, but I actually think it's likely to go to the 382. So I'm going to get that. I'm going to leave this. And all these things are probably going to set up soon, within 3 or 4 candles. So you kind of have a sense of, how long it's probably going to take you for these setups to occur. And it's not a bad idea to map out what you expect it to do. Every time we take a trade, every time we take a trade, we've accepted the possibility that it won't play out that way. It's like a professional football match, right? Your team can be good, they can be winning all the way, and then they could just have one bad match. It can happen. So we don't assume that it's going to be a winner. We know that it has a good probability of winning. So all of these are looking suspiciously like good potential setups because the dollar is also strengthening. So dollar yen is probably want to go up. So let's have a look at dollar yen. So Kiwi can sit on the list as well. Dollar yen. Okay, so dollar yen has done a little bit of a bounce here. It's in a downtrend. Not really expecting much here. I think Bank of Japan are trying to keep it under this level. So I'm going to pass on that for now because it's not really tracking very much. This is looking nice and bullish, which makes sense. This I would prefer. Let's have a look. Let's go here. So that was from a trade from last week. So I'm going to clean this up, and just see what we got going on here. There's definitely a level of sorts here. Let's just draw that. So this is not going to be sexy or exciting. This is the process. Going through, looking at it. It's pretty cool. So we're a little bit of, I'd like it to be a little bit above that level. Guys, there's only two ways you can get into a moving market. There's only two ways you can enter a trade. On a pullback or a breakout. This is pulling back now. I would prefer for it to be above this level. So you could trade this, but there's some risk it might struggle to get back up above this level. So I would prefer for it to carry on up, possibly pull back, and then take a second trade. So that's what I would prefer to do there. So I'm going to keep an eye on it. We'll see how this plays out. But that's would be my plan on that one. Okay, dollar Swissy. See dollar Swissy already getting ready to take off here. And all this matches our, it matches our dollar, our expectation what the dollar is going to do. Right. So that's the majors. Let's have a quick look through them again. They're all getting ready to carry on. So they're not even pulling back here. Cable, that's great. I like that one. Okay, so if I am going to take a trade, this is beautiful. This is great. I've got 10 minutes. Okay, I've got to make a call on this one. I quite like that. But it's very, it's a beautiful setup, but the pound is quite strong. So this is interesting. Dollar Swissy. Okay, so this is my thinking. I think I prefer either cable or the Aussie dollar. I quite like that. So now what I want is a small candle. I want a small candle so that ideally with a tight spread, if I can, so that in and out is going to be quite good. Now, problem is I'm going to do a small account and then copy it across to larger accounts. So my position sizing is going to be more reasonable. So let me just clean this up. Here's my scripts. I'll clean it up in a moment. Let's go and have a look here. Let's do cable. No, let's do Aussie dollar. 15 minutes. Waiting for this one to close. And so what I'll do then is I'll risk, let's say 0.2% for now, because I might take more than one trade. So I'll set up. So the only thing that's annoying about this particular platform is they have a 5 pip, like they won't let you place a pending order within like 5 pips of price. So if you go to the specification, you'll see this, where was it? Stop level 50, which is 50 micro pips. So that means I can't place an order it can't be a really nice tight order, which is annoying because I've got to add the spread and various other things. So this is a sell setup. I scripted this I coded this in Claude for what I need. So it's just, I pick the chart, I do the sell setup, it automatically places the stop loss behind the most recent candle, places the entry away, which is a bit of a level here. And then what it does is it places a 1-to-1 target and a 1/2-to-1. Now the reason it's 1-to-1 and 1/2-to-1 is just because the markets have been so crazy over the last year that you don't get these long sustained trends. Now it appears they're coming back. So we are starting to get nice, better trends now, which means this would then move to 2-to-1 and you take partial profits at 1-to-1. But it's been so nuts over the last year that we found that if we tried to hit 2-to-1, we had more losing trades. So this is, right now, is a very hard approach, but you have fewer losing trades. All right. But as a general rule, you're looking for equal or greater than 1-to-1, obviously, in terms of profit, reward to risk. Okay, so I'm just going to place the order because I can come back and remove it. So I'm just going to place the order, which is a pending order. It's good to go. It also looks for major levels. So there's a lot of dashed lines here, which is telling me there's like a lot of levels there. It's trying to identify major price levels. So it's trying to tell me that there could be a lot of difficulty in trying to get to my target. Okay. So we'll do a couple. So we'll look at Kiwi was looking quite nice as well. So if we go to this one, 15 minutes, let's look at the daily. Daily's in a downtrend. It's pulling back. You've got the 250, 20 and 10. Nice bearish formation. Prices pull back here. Prices coming down. And so it looks like it wants to keep going down. I know that's a bit of a bullish candle. That's what I'm saying. We're getting, this is just how it is. We're getting some mixed signals. So if we go down to the 15 minutes, we've pulled back. We're producing a bit of a bearish candle. But if you look, all of them are doing that now. All of them are producing a bearish candle. This one typically would be a really nice setup. Why? Nice level of support. Bearish candle. Looks great. Euro dollar. So then, for example, just so you know, I've got an MT5 account as well. So like there's a 10 grand. I've got like rats on mice. So I've got large client accounts sitting on a VPN, which I'm not going to show you guys. That's on a VPS. And then I've got a couple on my desktop, and then I use Heron Copier to copy between them. So this is like another account as well. Okay, so then I'm going to copy to this one. But you can see the difference with this. If I go here, and where's my trade manager? This is a MT5. So one is MT5, one's MT4, but as it happens, I'm copying from the MT4 account to the MT5 and the other MT4 accounts. Okay, what is the spread here? Spreads are quite good. 0.7, 0.9, 1.2. And so when you go to the IG account, the spreads are obviously more. It's just evidence. There we go. 0.6 is not bad. That's really good. 0.9 over here. I'm just looking up there. Yeah, it's looking quite bearish, guys. We might get a move soon. So I think I prefer and again, I can't take them all. So I've got an Aussie dollar. What I haven't done, which I should have done, very important, check the news. Okay, check the news. So Forex Factory, or your own one if you want to do that, Forex Factory, but let's have a look. There we go. So today is Tuesday, nothing. There's no news scheduled for today. I'm not going to worry about low impact. I'm mainly concerned with high impact. Because otherwise you'll just suffer from analysis paralysis. So, okay, so no news to worry about just yet. We've got 5 minutes before these candles close out. And then we're going to see if they're going to move. What was the other thing? Go here, go to the markets, just so you can see where we are. In terms of that, here we are. So the UK session will be starting soon. We've just left the Sydney session. And this is kind of where we are. Okay. Everything making sense so far? Okay, now I'm going to keep looking. So I've got at least one pending order here. Kiwi dollar's not bad. This one's already, I've left it. So if it triggers, it's going to get triggered anyway. Normally you want to wait until 30 seconds, a minute before the candle closes, because the candle can obviously close quite a bit, but I think this is fine. I'm okay with this. And obviously you can see my target is close to where this bit of this level is. We'll see. Okay. This isn't necessarily a bad one. It's had a move down, bearish candle. It's got a good level there. So if I did say sell setup, just as an example, sell setup, and where's my target? Yeah, 1.8 pip spread. Maybe probably not. And the euro dollar's gone. Cable's gone. Kiwi. So I think I'm going to leave it. I'll just do the Aussie dollar US dollar one for now. It's pending. It's good. Let me go see what else is going on. So there's one pending order, which will, when it triggers, it will automatically open on this account. Okay, it'll automatically open on that account. Okay, so I'm going to carry on now. Usually the way I would do it is check the majors first. Check the dollar, check the majors. Now I'm going, and again, I would say you do regularly want 3-to-1s if you can, as often as possible. You really want that. But lately, the markets would just not trend very much. And when I say lately, I mean the last year. But I would say that maybe in the last 2 months, they've started to trend more. So I do think that 2-to-1s and 3-to-1s will be back on the table. The reason I am not there yet is because it took a while to realize that 1-to-1 was the only way to survive trading in the last year. It took a while, like 4 months before I was like, this isn't going to go back to normal. So I'm cautious. I'm kind of, you might say, kind of like PTSD about it. So I'm just very cautious on that. But let me show you what that kind of looks like in terms of results, so that you could see the difference. So if I go to, I'm going to show you now. So these are the master classes. But if I go back to when we were trying to do 2-to-1s, we would have quite a few losing streaks, like quite more than that. So before the tariffs, if you go further back, you could see like large patches like this. This was ridiculous. And then you'd have a couple of winning ones when it did start moving, and then it was just go back to that. And then we started implementing a 1-to-1 instead of 2-to-1 or 3-to-1. We just started doing that. And then you could see after this, so this is just what was normal. Every time we did a 2-to-1 or 3-to-1, we just had losing trades. So then we switched to a 1-to-1. And then ever since then, it has been much more what it should be like. You should have 3 or 4 winners, 1 or 2 losers, 3 or 4 winners. You should have that. And you can see just going back, it's just much more like this. This is much more normal. This is much more what I'm used to. So you could see the difference by implementing that. Anyhow, just wanted you to see that it's not just, I'm not just talking out my ass here. This is how it goes. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is have a look at the global markets. Just see what they're looking like. Are they looking bullish or bearish? Okay, so again, if you look at the daily, they are bullish, broadly. Now, they're meant to be bullish, guys. Remember, they are designed to go up all the time. That's kind of how they're designed. And it's one of the things that blows my mind. So many people on YouTube talk about how everything's going to collapse. And I'm not saying there aren't problems, and I'm not saying there aren't bubbles and various other things. In fact, I'll be the first person to call all that stuff out. But the indices are the most steroid-driven beast because they've got people's pensions in them. So you actually don't actually want them to crash. You want them to keep going. Because everybody's around the world, everybody's pensions are pushed into the indices, and every time the markets drop, they are usually obligated to buy. So it's actually, weirdly, it's everybody's pensions and savings that are causing the markets to keep going up. And every time they do drop, it actually becomes a buying opportunity. And so a lot of people are always under the impression the market's always about to crash. And if you go back 10 years and 10 years before that, everybody thought that was going to happen. But the actual crashes happen very rarely. And the global financial crisis was the biggest crash since 1929. So that's almost 100 years apart. But the PTSD remains. So they always think that the next crash is coming soon. And yes, there are a lot of other problems, but the stock market is made up of people's savings and pensions. It's not the economy. And when you finally understand that and believe it, not even understand, but when you believe it, then all of a sudden the index behavior makes sense. That it should go up more than it does anything else. Okay. Point is, there's clearly a level here. I can see it. I'm sure you guys can see it. And this looks a little bit maybe like a head and shoulders. Maybe. Interesting to me. So that might end up being something to trade. It's producing lower highs, lower lows. So again, this might end up being something to trade. Okay. And so there's 2 different ways to do this. And again, very important. If it's a bearish pattern, when it comes to the indices, you really want to just take your profits and run. You don't want to go against the flow too much. So in this case, there'd be 2 ways to do this. Either just a break and a straight 1-to-1, or you might look to do something like this there. But again, you just 1-to-1 or 2-to-1, take your money and go. Now you can go for 3-to-1s if you've got a good trade management system. So once you're in, if you can get to break even, then you can try and ride it out as much as you want. But I also find having your expectations realistic, in line with the markets, is much better for you. So if you are conservative and trading defensively, assuming the market is going to, not give you much of a run, you will find that you trade much more in tune with the way the markets are these days. And then it doesn't disappoint you and it doesn't mess with your heads when it does something. A lot of people think trends are just going to run forever. And then they refuse to take profits. So their plan is to trail their stop loss, because in their brain somewhere, every trade is a runner, and it just isn't always the case. You can get patterns that I remember. I don't see it very often, but I actually saw this happen in a masterclass, and we didn't trade it, but we saw this unfold. We had a head and shoulders, which then turned into an inverse head and shoulders, and then went on. So that's what I mean. Like if you'd taken this one, you would have hit targets, and if you'd taken the next one, you would have hit targets. So sometimes a trailing stop loss you will just let money making opportunities pass you by, because you're not seeing that some opportunities are just moments in time. They're just passing patterns you can grab, and they have an incredibly high win rate. Okay, also looking a bit funny. Overall, it's looking funny. So I'm going to pass on NASDAQ. Shouldn't be on the list. So I'll put this onto my watch list. There we go. Russell 2000 was looking really nice and bullish yesterday, but it's battling a bit here. Not looking good. FTSE's a bit of a mess. DAX is a bit of a mess. It's broken up. Might want to come back down and test this level. So that level would be something to watch. That level would be something to watch. Not today, I don't think. But because every entry into a trade is a breakout or a pullback. So we always watch levels, because if this forms a descending triangle, we get a breakout trade. If it breaks out and pulls back, we get a pullback trade. Okay. So the first thing we're really trying to do is just determine the direction. Now it is going up here and it is going up here, but it might very well want to come back down on the daily and go up, which means that the 15 minutes might offer us, just for today, a short-term temporary sell trade. Does that make sense, guys? Yes or no? So, I'm going to observe it, but I don't think there's anything there yet. Okay, Euro Stocks has gapped down a bit. See, again, this might just want to come down and test. So again, no. This is turning around. So let me just show you something here. I don't have my draw tools. I need a nice little draw tool thing that I can work with here. And can you paste images? Is it possible to paste images into the chat? Can you do that? So if I do this, can I paste that in here? No. So I can't do that. But let me show you what's going on here. The lows, sorry. So the lows are slowing down. They're going from there, and then there, and then there, and then there. So it's slowing down. So what it's going to do, or what it's going to try to do, is it's going to try to head up like this. So it'll try to do this potentially. Do this, every time I draw a line. There. It's going to try to do that. So on the 15 minutes, and probably when the US comes online, you've got the tide going out and the tide coming in, and whichever way you want to call it. But the London session is one of the tides, either the tide going out or the tide coming in if you want. Maybe call it the tide going out, and then when the US comes online, the tide comes in. So that being said, so what I would do is put a line over here, which is to monitor that. And then draw what I expect it to do. So this is a good exercise because it might even just do that. Could do that. Or this. This is turning around. It's going to try. It might even, look, it can keep going. That's fine. But I think this is what it's probably going to do. Something like that. Look, there's not an unlimited number of things it can do. This is actually more likely based on my experience. One of these two is more likely. And again, I'd be looking to get in on this pullback here, if we see that. And the markets are generally bullish. So that would be my expectation for IBEX. Is it on the list? No. Okay, hasn't triggered yet. Hasn't triggered yet. That's fine. So this is a setup, and I would have preferred a smaller candle, half that size, because then your entry to your stop loss is relatively tight. Now that I've got it, I need the next candle to follow through. So this was obviously just like so far, was just a bit of a surge in the dollar, but it hasn't really followed through. So I'm going to leave it here for a bit, and then I will cancel it if it hasn't triggered in the next hour. Like it really should within the next 1 or 2 candles. If it's going to go, it'll trigger. If it isn't, if it starts waffling a bit, then I might just leave it. FTSE 100. Okay, let's go look at that. All right, well, we were actually on that one. Look, I still think we're in a bull market for the most part. These markets are much more resilient than people think. All the problems you hear about, I'm sure they're real. Like, I'm not being silly here. I'm sure, you know, companies are being overvalued for sure. But you know what's different from the global financial crisis is a lot of people are skeptical about AI. A lot of people are. And that wasn't the case back then. Back then, everybody was on the same side. Everybody loved how stuff was going. Whereas these days, every other person's like, I don't like AI. I don't like it. So that's part of the reason why, even though it is a little bit of an overvaluation bubble, it's not the same kind of bubble. But then you have all these other things, right? So you've got just lots of other problems. But things are not necessarily that dire. We're okay so far. So where am I going with this? For now, I still believe we're in a bull market. I think that there's a really good chance we'll run until at least September, maybe January, before we have a bigger correction. I'm interested to see what happens with the midterms in the US in November. But again, that's between September and January. So we'll see. But the markets overall are still bullish. So in answer to your question, Usman, aside from normal natural pullbacks, I still think it's likely to keep going up. Yep. And also, here's another good sign. Here's another positive sign. Every time an index goes sideways, it's taking a breather before it moves. So most of the time here, like this was a bit of a bigger correction, but actually what happened here was that you had a move from here to there and a correction there. So that was actually a monthly pullback. This is a beautiful consolidation, and it's looking more bullish than bearish. Why do I say that? Because you've got a nice series of high lows and a bit of a level here. Okay, and you've got a bit of a level there. So it's more bullish than bearish. The price points are showing you here that it's testing the highs and it's producing higher lows. So it's not getting ready to collapse or anything like that. Okay, now let's go through this. Hang Seng is the most bearish of the bunch. That's nice and bearish. Look at that. So if you were going to short the markets, you want to short the weakest one. And if you're going to buy the markets, you want to buy the strongest one. You're just adding layers of insurance and probabilities in your favor. The Australian one as well, not really showing much, not a lot. It's a bit of a mess. That's fine. And the Nikkei. Okay, which is great. It's pulling back now. But look at the quality of that trend. If you think of a trend as like a heartbeat, this is just a beautiful heartbeat. Okay. And it's got it kind of forming a very messy descending triangle here. So, but all of that is really just, the reason it's messy is because there's buyers and sellers in here. There's a bit of a battle going on here. And actually, once it comes down to about here, it's going to turn around. So I wouldn't touch this. I wouldn't touch this. I would just leave it for now. I'd leave it for now. Let's have a look at crude oil. Crude oil slowing down. See that slowing down pattern again? So if we grab this, it's the exact same slowdown pattern here, which you're seeing over here. Same thing. Just going to make it a bit thinner. Just goes from there, and you can just see it slowly turning around. Whoops. I thought it does that. I need my own drawing tool. Slowly turning around. So bigger candles becoming lots of small candles, lots of small candles. So it's likely going to just slow down and maybe go a bit sideways or maybe turn around. We'll see. It's very overextended here. So it might want to come back up and test the 78 level, which is the major level of resistance. So maybe it wants to do that. But we're not there yet. And it's a daily chart. It's a daily downtrend. So for now, best thing to do is to stay away from it. It's just very messy. So don't like that. Gold. Okay, so gold is on my watch list today. Let me explain why. So you have to see the big picture. You have to see like the whole bigger picture. Generally speaking, this is a really good place. If this uptrend is going to continue, there's a nice big round number here, $4,000. It's a really good spot for it to do it. Doesn't have to, but if it is going to turn around, this is a good spot for it to do it. Fine. You go to the weekly, and you've got a couple of bullish candles coming in here. So in other words, it's starting to push back, up above that level. That in itself is not conclusive. In fact, I'll tell you when you know for sure it's going long is when it goes above the 50 again. For now, it's still underneath the 50, and when it goes up, it's going to bump its head up against that. So I think this level of 4,300, 4,275 is going to be like a bit of a, it's going to have to test itself against that. That being said, when you go to the daily, it's definitely trying to turn around here. It's actually broken above this high. So this downtrend is done. How do I know that? Because this was a, look at the wicks over here. That was a double bottom in a way. It's broken through this. What it's doing now, or what it's going to try to do, is to come to here and then carry on up. I did it again. There. So it's going to try to do this, to this, there. That's effectively what it's going to try and do where these lows are. Whether it succeeds or not, we will find out. So the first thing that I want to do now is when I zoom in here, I want to see this turning around. I'm looking to see this one turning around. So I'm looking for signs on the lower time frames, the 15 minute, the 1 hour. I'm watching to see if there's signs of it turning around. So let's go look at the 15 minutes and see if it's turning around. So when we get here, by the way, for anyone who's joining later, there is a pending order on Aussie dollar. So there's a live trade just sitting here. And if it doesn't trigger, I'll just cancel it. But it's the only one I've seen so far that I like. And the outcome of yesterday's trade that I didn't take went on and hit target. So it was a pity because I didn't take it. Funny story, actually, I had too much coffee and I was jittery and I misread that. I was like, why am I so anxious? So I just said, okay, you know what? I'm going to pause on this trade. And then I went on and hit target, but it happens. It happens. So, okay, so this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for signs that this is going to turn around and start going up. I can also, by the way, I can highlight news events here. So this is tomorrow, okay? Tomorrow night, FOMC minutes. It's probably going to be quite big. So it's fine because that's tomorrow night and that's after tomorrow's trading. So what I'm going to do here is I'm drawing a line like this. I'm doing this above here. This is only relevant on this time frame. And the purpose of this is to give me just an extra line in the sand that if this starts turning around, here's a 382. There's a nice round number, 4,100. It's a good place for it to turn around. So what am I expecting this to do? I'm expecting this to possibly start to turn around here like this. And when it does, I'll get an uptrend. I'll breach the trend line, which is the angular momentum. So this is really showing you the bearish momentum. And when it breaches the trend line, what's actually changing is the sentiment. The sentiment is changing. So when I see it breach the trend line and I see high lows, high highs, I'm going to start buying. Why am I going to do that? Because that means that on the daily is now starting to turn around and potentially go up. All right. And this will provide me, between where price is now and that 50 period, it will provide me with ideally 1 or 2 or 3 trades. Okay. That 50 period is sitting around about $4,300. So it'll arch around there. So I've got up to there, 4,300, which is all the way up to there. I've actually got a line there. So that means that all I have to do is find myself even just one-to-one trade between here and there on the way up. Does that make sense, guys? Is it possible that gold could keep going down from here? Absolutely. But there's a lot of signs here that it's trying to turn around. And so I'm only going to take a trade if it actually does turn around. So in other words, I'm only going to take a position if the market is actually showing me that's where it wants to go. Otherwise, it's fine. But it's showing signs of bullishness now. Okay, so you don't buy now because it's in a downtrend. You wait for that trend to change. You still get in roughly the same place, so you don't give anything up. What you gain, though, is safety and probability. Does that make sense, guys? You're very quiet. Anyway, so that is my mapped out plan for this. And I always find that doing this, it has a lot of benefits. When I do that, what happens is when I come back to the chart later on, maybe an hour from now, and I don't have to reanalyze the chart, I'm like, oh yeah, that's what it's, and if it isn't doing that, if it starts dropping here, then I'm like, ooh, then I'll slow down and I'll reevaluate it. But if it is following this, then I know what my plan is. And because when you're looking at 50 instruments, probably not 50, 45 instruments, then you can't always remember your plan for each of them. And that's actually what a trading journal is for. So you have a writing journal. Sorry. And you have a writing journal and you write down what your plan is. But drawing it on the chart is also a very good idea. There's 2 Frenchies. So silver. Okay. So silver. So the thing about Phoebe, shush. Hey. So the markets are always about it's a numbers game, meaning that this is downtrending, and when it gets back up here, there are going to be some people who are short on silver, and there are going to be some people who are long on it because they're looking at gold. And eventually somebody's going to win that battle. Somebody's going to win the battle. And sometimes in the details, you can start to see you can see the shift anyway on the lower time frames. So my point is this, is that it's a popular misconception that all the big fish, all the whales, all the big institutions are always on the same side, and they always know what's going on, and they have this inside information. And that just isn't strictly true, because sometimes they'll have to execute orders on behalf of their clients, and their clients might say, listen, just sell my silver position. And somebody else and some other clients are saying, buy my silver position. So first of all, they have a mandate to do what their clients say. That's their fiduciary duty. And so they're not always in control of what they're going to do necessarily. Also, they might just have a terrible analyst. So my point is this, is that you need to, once you understand that at all levels, people can be on the wrong side of stuff or can just have a different opinion. And so there will be a point here when this comes back up where sellers will step in on all levels because they're of the belief it's going to keep going. So what happens then is that when you go to the daily, this is a fantastic place for silver to continue down. Let's pull back in. But here's what I would have expected. First of all, let me tell you why I don't think that's going to be the case. And this is why I love technical analysis. Because of all of these wicks, all of those wicks, if you have a very strong downtrend, you shouldn't get this many wicks at the bottom. That just tells you that for 5-6 days in a row, 7 days in a row, people were just buying, or whoever was buying, but they were just buyers, just accumulating. And if this was a heavy selling instrument, you wouldn't have so much buying enthusiasm at this price level. You wouldn't. You'd have like that. You'd have just a bit of buying and it would then just retrace. You wouldn't have a lot of this. Like this is every day for like a week and a bit. Not only that, but what should have happened if this was very weak is it should have come up and hit the very first level of resistance and taken a hit. I hate when I do that. And taken a hit. The very first one should have knocked it, but it didn't. It went straight through it without a problem. Now, if you take away the lines, it's still in a bearish area. So yes, it could still continue down. It could. I'm just saying a lot of buying here. Didn't really find any resistance here. I feel like there's some more buyers in our future that have shown up here. And the sellers aren't really in control because it was able to just push past that level. And therefore, I think that when it starts to come down, the buyers here are going to start to come in and then it's going to turn around and go up. And then when I look at gold and I see that bullishness, I'm like, well, that kind of matches now because silver will roughly follow gold. So that's my experience talking. I could be wrong. I've always allowed for the possibility of being wrong, always. But that's what there's a lot of clues in the price action here. And the fact that it was able to just work its way up through the very first ceiling without even slowing down, and then just stop in the middle of it randomly, to me means the sellers didn't have control of this line. They weren't able to keep price under it, which means it's not that weak, and a lot of buying here. So they could come back and then overwhelm them and push down. That's a possibility. But if they are going to turn on and go up, the signs are here. When you look back, you'll be like, oh yeah, there were signs that buyers were coming back in. So that's why my expectation is actually more likely that it'll potentially do something quite aggressive. Like it might do this. That's what I'm thinking is a possibility. Okay. Cool. And so here's another example of that thing. So here you can see that bullish momentum, which was this part there. That's the bullish momentum there. So I'm going to zoom in on that one. Just this part here. We're just going to look at that. So we go down to the 4 hourly. I've lost the line. Forget it. This is on all time frames. There it is. And going a little bit further. So as long as it stays above a trend line here, it's quite nice and bullish. But if it falls through it, it's obviously not. Go down to the 60 minutes. Let's have a look at that. 60 minutes, you can see it's sort of ramping up, but now it's started to go into a downtrend. It's underneath the 50. And then when you get to the 15 minute, that's where we are now. Okay. So this bullishness has started to go away. It's going this way. But if it is ultimately going to turn around and go up, what is it going to do? I'm just going to clean this up a bit. What is it going to do? It's going to breach this trend line here. So I'm going to put the line above here. Nice little gap above it. So I always leave a gap because I always want to give the downtrend as much opportunity to continue. So it should stay under this line. It really should. If it's going to stay bearish, it should stay below that. But if it doesn't, if it comes up and breaches it, then it's definitely losing that bearish, heavy selling momentum. So this level, there's a bit of a level here. We'll keep an eye on that. And also, it looks like it's going to breach that. So there's a couple of ways I can do this. I can put an alert on this and just say alert me when price breaks through it. Or I can just come back and watch it, which is fine. So I'm going to put this on the day trading, which it is. Let's have a look at Bitcoin. I'm not trading Bitcoin. I'm not really in it at all. But it's at 63. Okay. And out of curiosity, what is SpaceX doing? It's all stuck down here. So nothing much there. Okay. So now I'm going to go through all the Forex pairs. Let's go and have a look and just see if anything else is changing. Let's go through these. Again, interesting. Kiwi pulled back up. Cable back up. So I might just cancel this trade. No skin off my nose, no losses, and it didn't trigger. So the other thing I like to do, just guys, is I'll look and see, did I miss any trades? In other words, since we sat down, have there been any trades that I could have taken? And no. This was a breakout at 545. Since then, that's the very first pullback. So I haven't missed anything. Cable pullback here and went, but it didn't go anywhere. It didn't trigger. So I haven't missed anything. And that breakout was at 545. So since I've sat down, there haven't been any trades on this stuff. Okay. Nope. 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 I don't know what that's about. Let's get rid of that. So I haven't missed anything. Euro Aussie. No. Okay, so now what I'll do is I'll just show you this process. I'm just going to look at the 15 minutes. I'm not going to check any of the higher time frames just yet. All I'm looking for, guys, is a nice breakout pattern building up, which is either a consolidation, like a nice, beautiful rectangle sideways that it can break out and there could be a trade there, or it'll be an ascending or descending triangle, or it's going to be like a double bottom, double top, which is a potential change of trend, or it's going to be a trend. It's going to be like, that's it. There's not a huge number of things the market can do. Excuse me. And although this is trending up, it's pulling back quite a bit. So this one is not a setup. You're a Kiwi. So let me show you, for example, this might be something that could be, it's just too messy. It's too choppy. So pass on that. You want a nice, clean price action. Euro yen is, that's interesting. This was, oh, I was marking this yesterday. There was my earliest opportunity there. There hasn't been a trade set up yet. So that can go. That can go. That can go. There's nothing there. You're a Swissy. Nope. So this is deceptive. It's quite interesting. You get this type of thing. And that, which looks bullish. Because it's trending higher. It looks bullish. But actually what's happening is the highs are failing. So it's struggling to actually close higher. The lows are going up, but the highs are failing. And eventually what happens is it gets to a point where it just can't go beyond that point, and then it falls through the floor. So that is called a rising wedge. Okay. It's called a rising wedge, but that's actually what's happening. That's what's going on there. So nothing here, nothing here. Nope. Nope. Maybe. 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 It's not ideal, but it's not terrible either. So pound Kiwi, what am I looking for? I'm looking for this, and soon. But what would make me happier is if the 4 hours trending up and the daily or something's going up. So all I'm going to do here is go straight to straight up to the daily. Is the daily going up or down? So the daily is trending up. It's just consolidated. There's a nice uptrend. It's just broken away here, so it's not overextended. This is great. This is a good news thing. This is a good sign. Okay, I'm just going to mark this because that is the daily. What about the weekly? The weekly is also breaking up. There's a bit of a level here. So you can kind of see where we're at. There's a bit of a thing going on. 2035, 236. Okay, but it is going up. So that's good news. That means the 15-minute looking bullish, not actually a bad trade. What does the 4 hour look like? Trending up. Beautiful. A break and a retest going up. So all of this looks really good. So all I'm looking for here would be some kind of a bullish setup. It might come in the form of a double bottom, but definitely worth watching. So that's going to go into my watch list for today. In fact, so much so, I'll go to the platform and add this in here. But if I get a nice bearish rejection candle here, I might still place the order. So I'm going to close this and just place another one. It'll be 0.2. It's a sell setup. It's a little bit tighter. And then I'm just going to place the trade. Okay, so it's a pending order. I've just placed that. But nice and quick and easy. It's got my preset risk amounts. It's got my preset stop loss and various other things built in. Purpose of that is trade and risk management, so that I can't make mistakes. Okay. Going back here. Yeah, let's create a new chart. So this is going to be pound Kiwi. Problem with this is often the spreads are wild. Spreads are wild. And a very interesting thing as well, I find that the price differences between here and the other platforms can vary. So, would I consider putting a buy order here, my stop loss down here? You could do that. You could. It's very, you don't have the confirmation of it rejecting that level. So often you would want a bullish candle to form here and then go long. The only reason you would do this is if you had a lot of confluence. So if we go back to the chart, and then I would need fib levels everywhere. Like I would need moving averages, support resistance level, fib retracement. So that's called a cluster. So now you've got 3 things so far. You'd have the moving averages, you'd have the 382, and maybe a round number as well. So you'd want a lot of evidence. So I can't place a 0.1% order on this. Can I? I can. So this is how you would do this. This would be a buy setup, but it has to be a limit order. And I haven't coded it to do limit orders. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'll show you how I do this. So we'll go through to so I'm showing you Claude. We're going to code now. Okay, today is the last day where we get Fable. So we'll do Fable. Why not? So we're going to my MT5 Trade Manager. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to load up Claude. Okay, I'm going to switch. Are any of you guys playing with AI? Anyway, so this is called a command line interface. So I'm not going through a browser. I'm going through a prompt, just a command line thing, which is the way we used to do stuff back in the 90s. I'm going to switch at the bottom. I'm going to tell it to just execute. It doesn't have to ask me every time it wants to do stuff. It can just go ahead and do stuff. I'm going to change the model to Fable, which is great. I forget how you get to the effort level. Doesn't matter. So now we're in Claude, and it's missing an order type. I want a limit order on this. So on the MT5 thing, I don't think I have that option. So I'm going to double check it. I'll say, and also I have speech to text, so I can record straight into it. Do we have buy and sell limit orders coded into this or not? So it'll come back and just tell me what it's doing. Okay. So while that's doing that thing, let me just go and see what's playing out. Okay, so I think there could be something really good here. So I'm going to keep an eye on that one. Pound yen, I'm just looking at. Oops. Nothing. Pound Swissy. No. Yeah, this is the trade I didn't take yesterday. Look at that. Would have got in here, 1-to-1 target, and it just went. It was on fire. So I missed out on that one. This one was also beautiful. Nice consolidation. Breakout, pullback, beautiful. Kept going. Pound CAD. So all the GBP pairs are climbing. So that's the pound's quite strong. So it's another reason why pound CAD might be worth taking, but the spread is going to be wild. So the spread over here is 5 pips. So it's going to put my entry like 10 pips away, which is just ridiculous. Anyway, Aussie Kiwi, anything? No. No. Nope. 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 Maybe. Level up here. Bullish candle here to buy. CAD Swissy. Interesting. CAD Yen. No. You got to leave this stuff. The Yen piece and this one. Okay. Dollar index. Okay, cool. So we're still waiting for that. The Yen pairs are probably bullish overall. Anyway, so that is my trade list. If I go over here, these are all the things I'm looking at today, not that one. So gold, I'm looking for this to breach the trend line, which I don't think it's going to do today. So I can relax. This is something that isn't going to happen for me this morning. So I can just relax about that. Silver, I can relax about that. Not going to happen this morning. Maybe this evening, maybe this afternoon, but not going to happen now. So I can forget about this. Euro dollar. We're looking for these to continue down, if they're going to do that. So far, no setup. Dollar yen shouldn't be on my list, so this can come off. No, man. Comes off the list. Euro yen. So all the yen pairs can come off the list for today. Day trading. They don't need to be here, because there isn't any setup right now. Pound Swissy was a no. That was yesterday, right? Yeah, there's nothing happening today. So I've got Euro CAD, which broke, which didn't happen, so that goes off the list. That can come off the list. Pound. Okay, this might end up being a setup there. Aussie dollar hasn't triggered. It might be wanting to come up to here. Might be wanting to come up to here. Okay, Aussie cable's looking interesting. Kiwi is, I'm going to leave that. The Dow, I'm looking for this to possibly break down, but no setup yet. The DAX, oh, I'll check that later. I don't think this is going to trigger today. IBEX, I don't think it's going to trigger anytime soon. And Pound Kiwi. Pound Kiwi is literally the only one, right? So I'm going to see if I can get that EA coded. So if I go back to the platform, I've got a pending order on Aussie dollar anyway. So, and nothing else is showing. So I wanted you guys, this is why I'm streaming this morning, so that you can see the process, but also when you can see when there isn't anything happening. And it doesn't suddenly go from nothing happening to something happening in 5 minutes. It takes a while. So you can scan and then relax and then move on to the other stuff. So go back to the coding thing. No, it cannot place limit orders. Placement in both version 4 supports exactly 2 execution orders. I know. It's a setup trigger tool. Can you add a pending buy limit and sell limit order option, please? So let's see what it does. Hi, Richard. Hey, it's been forever. It's been forever. So, Richard, we were scanning through the markets, and there's not a huge amount on that's happening. But one trade I really like the look of is the Pound Kiwi. It's trending higher on the weekly, trending higher on the daily. It's pulling back to this level. So this is a good spot for it to produce a bullish candle. I was hoping to be able to place a pending order on the accounts, but the tool, I didn't code it in. So I'm coding it in now. So I'm also showing how I go ahead and do that. So it's going to add that in, and it's too late now, I think, to place that order, but I'll wait for a bullish candle to form if it does, and then place a buy stop order on that. Okay. So a pending order here, a limit order, would be like catching a falling knife. So that's why it's a last resort. You would put an order here if you had a high degree of confidence that price is going to find support in this area, not even just there, but in this area. And so far we have a couple of things that are providing potential support. You've got a 302 level, you've got a support resistance level, you've got a nice uptrend, you've got the moving averages, that 10, 20 moving average zone. And so this is a really good area for it to produce a bullish candle. A very aggressive approach would be to put an entry above the high of this one. So you would put your entry like this and your stop loss here. And then if the next candle takes off, so you would do this, stop loss there. And then if this candle, the next candle does this, you're in the trade. Does that make sense, guys? So this is going to, I'm going to move this off screen just so I can watch it on the side. And then when it's finished producing it, I'm going to update it. So then the order gets placed on a IG group. It uses Heron copier to copy it across to other accounts, onto a VPS where I have like 3 or 4 different MT4 accounts. But also even on here, I've got an MT5 account as well. So we'll see it copy trade through to here. Okay. So I don't have the ability to place a pending order, so I'm going to wait now for it to form. But if I did it like this, so let's say I do 0.1% to illustrate a point, and I do a buy setup. It's placed the buy order up there because it's got this. Just see what the settings are. So I can't exceed this. There'll be buy stop. What's my spread? Add the spread. Let's take it out. Let's just see what happens here. Interesting. Okay, so it's using the last candle to do that. So if I move my stop loss here, can I move my entry down a bit? I can. And I can put my stop loss in here. And then of course it's moving the target out and it's put a 50% halfway there, partial profits. So right now I'm moving my stop loss a little bit wider. I'm doing this because we learned over the last year that a lot of times the market will come further down than it should. My entry is above the high of this candle. So in other words, I'm doing exactly what I've spoken about doing over here. Entries above this candle, stop loss down here. I'm going with a wider stop loss. And I'm going to place the order. So let's go ahead. I'm going to place the trade. So I only get triggered in if the next candle, one of the next 2 candles, turns around and just goes up. And just breaks this high, producing a swing low. Does that make sense, guys? If it just keeps going down, I'll cancel it. So, yeah. I'm actually going to try this feature. It's a new feature. So I go like this, and I can go to, it should have a time limit on it. There we go. That's what I meant to do. So it's going to be a 1% buy setup. So it's got 30 minutes to trigger. Move my entry down. Move my stop loss down. Just widen it, which is obviously going to widen my target. And then place the trade. Place the order. Okay. Nice and quick and easy. Nothing too complicated. I think there are loads of different trade managers out there, but my one is built for me for day trading. And so again, like I said, this is a good place for price to turn around. And we'll see if it does. Meantime, let's go back and have a look at the Aussie trade. So Aussie trade here is just ridiculous. Again, I'm going to close this one and I'm going to set it up again. So this one, I'll do the same thing. I'll put the entry below the low here. I'll go in and change the settings. Remove the spread. Why am I the reason I'm doing this, guys, is that this particular broker actually puts in they put in a spread. They put in a minimum spread on that. So if you go into the specification, there's an 8 pip. It's already in. So I'm taking it out because 8 plus, 1 or 2 pips, which is crazy. It's going to move my entry where my entry should be 2 pips away from price. it's moving it like 8.5. It's ridiculous. So this is going to be, I'm actually going to remove this, remove it, move the latest one on. Okay, take the stop loss spread out. Okay, and that's it. So this is going to be a small one. It's going to, I'll allow it to, pending order to stay, it'll auto cancel, and it's going to be a sell setup. Okay, so if I go here, it's going to be something about this reason. It's a sell setup. And so I'm doing exactly the same thing. I'm going to move my stop loss up behind this. Oops, not that. Don't worry about that. Move that up there. Move this up there. Move my entry to here somewhere. That's probably it. That's not bad. And I can also adjust my target as fine. So the logic is, I'm going, let me just repeat here for the record. You should always, if you can, aim for 2-to-1s or 3-to-1s as often as possible. But our potential profit is also, to a large degree, determined by where the next key level is. And your stop loss, these days, I just operate with a slightly wider stop loss. I used to have it here. I'd have it right there. Entry there, stop loss there, and then target it. But the market is acting so funny, plus this platform does a bit of funny stuff. So I'm widening things. I'm putting it behind here. It's behind this. Okay. And place the trade. There we go. So I've got 2 pending orders. Pound Kiwi, Aussie dollar. Okay. Interesting on that one. Interesting. So it moved my entry because of that 8 pip limit. If you look, it's moved it. So it just moved my entry there. So I'm only going to get triggered in if I get there. My target's only going to be there. So that's a bit frustrating. So you definitely want to become familiar. If you use MT4, MT5, you do want to understand what goes on in these windows. And they do change. They're not the same. Depending on the broker, they're not the same. You do need to be familiar with those. And so I created a script because I don't want to go through all of them. So I created a script. If I go to that folder, so let's say I go to my development folder, MT5 utilities. So I've got a spec extractor. So that is a script. I run the script and it grabs all of the information from all of these. Once I've got that, then I have the outputs, the analyzer. Spec analyzer? Spec analyzer. So then if I run this, what it does is it's empty. Just showing you this. It's empty. Looks like this. Then I go and get the specs that were spat out. So I go here and I get the, one of these was from IG. Give me a second. One of them is from IG Index and the other was from JT Markets. I think it's this one. So then I'll grab those specs, drop them into the analyzer, and then this will give me all the feedback I know. So why do I do this? I do this because it gives me the median spread. It tells me stuff I need to know. It especially tells me when the spreads become problematic. So these spreads are nice. On most of these, the spreads are pretty decent. These are pretty good. What do I need to watch out for? Wide stop minimum. Meaning, which is exactly what I just showed you, which is it does that stop entry thing. So you need to consider your market entry on those. Now, if you enter live as opposed to a pending order, it's not a problem. But if you put a pending order in, it puts that in between price and the and your entry. No swap data. So it can't tell me what my overnight swaps are. Excuse me. So for a lot of that stuff, you don't really care. As long as your spreads are roughly average and there's nothing else that you need to worry about that they've snuck in, you should be fine. But in this particular case, it was good to know that. So that's a spec analyzer, which you can, if you guys are playing with AI, you can code it very quickly. Okay, so just coming back and looking at this trade, it's that this is the Aussie dollar one. It's not looking, we'll see. It's got this whole area here where we can decide what it wants to do. Euro dollar, nothing looks like whatever the trend was we saw earlier seems to have died. That happens. Pound Kiwi has fallen through. So far, Only 2 trade setups. Excuse me. Right, what have we got here? Pound Kiwi, we're waiting on this turnaround. Nothing. So it fell through that level of resistance. It's kind of fallen through. I'll keep an eye on it for the next 3 or 4 candles. IBEX, there we go. Gapped up. There we go. 8 o'clock. So we're looking for this to turn around, to break up, pull back, and go. So this is on my watch list. It's on my watch list for today. These are all the markets that I think could offer opportunities today or soon. This one is great. Why? Because it's already unfolding this way. It's already broken the high. Richard, I was saying that there were probably 3 ways this will unfold. My primary expectation is it's trying to turn around. It's gone from a downtrend to sideways. It's trying to turn around and head up. It's got nice bullish divergence. So all of these signs point to it trying to turn around and go up. Therefore, I'm looking for either a breakout pattern like an ascending triangle or a breakout and a pullback and a continuation. So it's now looking more and more like it's going to be one of these 2 and probably this one. And that's what I want anyway. Why do I want this one? Because by breaking up and pulling back, it's evolving more into an uptrend. So it's becoming safer to trade. Okay, so I've got my new code. I'm jumping between things here because I can, because there's nothing setting up on the charts immediately. So if I go here, let's have a quick look at everything. DAX has got nothing. Nothing. Showing up. The Dow is not looking like that's going to happen. So this is looking like that's going to fail. Kiwi dollar hasn't happened yet. Aussie dollar, nothing yet. Cable's going. Cable's going. And euro dollar is going to start heading down. So I do think we're going to start seeing these go lower. We'll see what happens. Kiwi dollar. Okay. Where these 2 were looking the best, they don't look the best now. This one looks very good. Look at that. And it's on its way. So if you watch from the beginning, you can see the entire selection process, how we got here. This doesn't have to be here. This is not even valid on this thing. And actually, that can now go up there. That's the index. 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 Okay. And pound QB, we're just going to watch. Indecision candle count, so let's get rid of this. Are you guys following what I'm doing so far? Does it make sense? It's gonna get hot today. If you're in the UK, make sure you got lots of water, guys. It's gonna be hot. Okay, indecision candles, beautiful. Look at this. That's really good. So this is looking nice, and I have a new code. It's generated a new version 5. So I'm going to go to the folder, which is over here, to my dev thing. I'm going to go to my MT5 Trade Manager. This is new. That's new. So I'm going to take this. I'll just take both. Doesn't matter, but I'll take this one as one. Take this, go into my MT4. Put it into my experts. Cool. And then just refresh here. Refresh. And there it is. So this looks really good. The only difference between version 4 and 5 is I've added in a limit order, which is too late to use now. So limit order, I would have allowed to put a buy order here. I would have put my stop loss here, down here. And then if it turned around. But this looks really good. If this plays out, this was then just a beautiful trade. Beautiful trade. You've got the higher time frames going up. The daily's not overextended. You've got a very nice level of resistance here. A pretty clear level. It's also a fib level. You've got your moving averages here. You've got a lot of confidence. Price comes in, sets up. Yeah. So I'm going to bring my buy order down. I want to see the spread. So I'm just going to switch this on. I want to see what it looks like. Where is it? Common, show the ask line. There it is. So, all right. So what I'm going to do here, can I do this? Would it allow me to do it? Edit it. Can I do that? No. It's fine. It won't let me bring my entry closer than... So even if I move my entry down, it would still move it to 12. It's at 17. Excuse me. Sorry, excuse me. So let's say I go here. Where's my entry price? Sorry, guys. So let's try, I'll bring it down to 14. It won't let me add it. It just won't let me do that. So that's a limitation by the broker to put it a certain distance away. And actually what should happen is it should put that entry where this line is, at least. If not, like there. Okay, it's not the same. So if we go across and we have a look at this platform, and we have a look at pound Kiwi, seven pips. Okay, so it's also got a 7 pip level there. But that stuff's important, because if you don't understand why you're not able to move your entry, hey guys, cool. If you don't understand why you're not able to do it. But this is shaping out nicely. Green candle counts. If it closes near the highs, that's also a really good sign. So with very little wick on top, that's a nice sign because it means like buying right into the end of that session. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. There's literally nothing else to do now except wait for these trades to execute. What's happening with Aussie dollar? It's bearish. Okay, I'm going to remove this one. So I'm going to close this trade and I'm going to set up another one, a fresh one. Okay. Okay, so it's a small amount. It's just very small, but also because I'm doing it live. Okay. And it translates obviously into larger accounts. Like if there's a 500 Rand account, 0.1% is quite a large amount of money. Normally my risk is somewhere between these two, but because some of these trades are questionable, I'm just going with very small amounts. Doesn't matter. If I'm wrong, it doesn't cost me anything. If I'm right, I still make money. So it's not a big deal. And I will give it an hour to, that's an expiry. It's a sell setup. Boom. Yeah, that's nice. I still think the stop loss, it's using this candle for the entry. I still think the stop loss should be further away. Okay. You could even go, yeah, whatever, and then place the order. Interesting. Moved it again. So it took the minimum stop and just moved it there. Okay, so those are the two trades. This can go. I don't need this anymore. That can go. That's not bad. A little bit bullish. That was yesterday's trade. Nothing here. Nothing here for now. So that means I can just monitor these like that. Just got these two trades and just monitor the two side by side. So I just want to go and heat up my coffee. I want to take a 30-second break and just go do that. So I'm just going to mute my microphone and then just go do that and I'll be back. But yeah, these are the best trades so far. Let's have a look at where these are going. The Dow, forget it. It's done. That's broken. That's actually looking bullish now. So that can go. Or we can just get rid of that. But that's not happening. This one I think, so this is how I would do this. When the New York session comes along, I think it's likely to be a consolidation breakout to the upside. Markets are still bullish. Therefore, I think that this is going to be the best trade. Okay, it's changing now. It's going from a descending triangle to a range, relatively tight range. This will also then likely turn bullish. It'll become a double bottom. How does this become a double bottom? Excuse me. Sorry. This becomes a double bottom. Here you go. It's a double bottom now. It's a bit hard to see, but only if it breaks this. So it's only a double bottom if it breaks this. Then you get this, and this, and you go up. Alternatively, it becomes a descending triangle. Those are the only two ways it can unfold. So if it's a double bottom, if it breaks out of that. And if it does, what do you do with it? You measure from the top to the bottom, call it. That's conservative. I think we're okay. That then becomes your target. Then you're just going to have a look. Nice round number, no brainer. That's your target. Again, could it stay within the range? Yeah, but if it breaks out, that becomes a trade. If it does this, that's a trade. And if it does that, that's a trade. Does that make sense, guys? Yes or no? I'm not trying to figure out why. I'm not looking for meaning. I'm not like, well, what does this mean if it goes sideways? What does this mean about the markets in general? I'm not. I'm going today. Is it going to go sideways, down, or up? And if it goes up, what is that going to look like? Where do I get in? How, is it feasible? And if it goes up, we get a bullish pattern. That's actually a double bottom. So, well, I say that. This is the basis for a double bottom. It only becomes a double bottom the second it breaks that high. Up until that point, it could still become a descending triangle. Okay. That's it. So again, I could put an alert. I could put an alert here. So when it starts coming back up to test that level, I could put an alert in there and say, let me know when you're there. So that's mapped out plan. IBEX. There we go. Look at this. Beautiful. So this one is looking good. So all I need now is a pullback. So that pullback is going to happen, what, in the next 10, 20 candles? So in the next 2-3 hours, you guys won't be around because I'm not going to do this for much longer. I mean, I don't want you to just waste your lives watching this. But yeah, so I'm looking for any pullback now. I'm looking for a buy opportunity. And it's better if it's above the 50 and comes down and tests the 50 as support. Why? Because if you're above the 50, you're generally bullish. If you're below the 50, you're generally bearish. So if it's above the 50 and coming and testing it, that's great. Okay. Like this here. So it breaks above the 50, tests it and goes. That's great. If you can get that, it's amazing. So that is looking good. Gold means nothing to me until we break up through the trend line. So there's nothing on gold and silver today. I think I could actually remove them. This could very well end up going down. So I'm going to remove these. They're not valid for today. Done. Dollar index. I'm looking for this to pull back and go. Still looking good. Just going to adjust it. Still expect it to do that. That's if it breaks up through that. Euro could potentially want to go down. So this will be more like this. Cable, we'll see. This is a bit of a mess. And a mess. And a mess. Okay, so basically, long story short, markets are not doing anything now. Let's see what pound QB is doing. Look at that. Are we in the trade? Let's go have a look. Beautiful. Looks good. Let's have a look. Still hasn't triggered me in. Now you should be. In a perfect world, you'd be triggered in here. You'd already be in the money. But I can't get closer than that. And what it'll do is as soon as it's triggered here, it will trigger on this account and the VPSs. Excuse me. All right. That's it. So I want to see this trigger. Let's see how this goes. And I'm just going to quickly go heat my coffee up. So give me 30 seconds, guys. 30 seconds and I'll be back, okay? All right. Cool. So now it just gets boring. Now you just wait to see what happens. And then I have a trading partner. Yeah. That I'm just going to quickly update. Hey, shush, shush, shush. These are my 2 pending orders for the time being. I'm going to monitor them and see if they trigger. Pound Kiwi long, GBP NZD long, and AUD USD short. I'll monitor that. The orders have expiries on them now, so if they don't trigger within an hour each, they end up removing themselves anyway. So that's my message to my trading partner, to my trading buddy. Something's just triggered. Okay, so we've got Pound Kiwi triggered. There we go. And just gonna, this is it. Cool. So I've got a trading buddy, and then I'll just go through what I'm watching and monitoring. Any questions? Any questions, guys? Any questions? So this is a good trade setup. It's playing out exactly as expected. We mapped it out. It's doing that. That still doesn't mean that it's a winner. It means it has a really high probability of making some money. But again, everything we do is about stacking probabilities in our favor. And this one is looking good. I like it. Looks good. Aussie dollar was the other. So this is the shortened list. The Dow is looking good for a breakout to the upside. The DAX is, I'm going to monitor that. Nothing yet. This is looking good, but I needed to get above the 50. You can see it's struggling there. Oof, look at that. Okay, so dollar index pulling back. What happened? What happened? Did something happen? Interesting. Nice bearish candle. Bit bearish. Aussie dollar bearish. Yeah, so it might end up going short. These are looking okay. They're looking okay. And then if I go check that it's copy traded across, you can see the trade is open here. That's it. Oh no, so any questions, guys, while we wait? While we wait, any questions, any confusion? Does it make sense? Everything, remember that obviously trading should always be rational. It should always be evidence-based, logical. All we're doing is trying to find high probability situations and then determine the most elegant entry and stop loss and take profit around that situation. You guys are very quiet. What else did I want here? Okay, I have a question. Fable stops today, so I want to get as much as I can out of it. Question. Is it possible to detect the time frame that the expert advisor is sitting on and add a candle countdown clock onto the trade manager heads up display? Let's see what it says. You learning something from this, by the way? it's annoying. This annoys me because I would be in profit here, so you'd already be in the money. And yeah, now I have to go. So I'd be in the money here. I'd be at final target, would be here, halfway there. I haven't even got into I'm not even in the black yet. So it gets a bit frustrating from that sense. So, Kingsley, if I'm going by your first name, if that's right, this is a new thing I'm thinking of doing. Maybe not every day because it gets distracting. But maybe once a week, once or twice a week, live sessions like this. Yeah, I think it's good. Yeah. Would you enjoy that? But it would, yeah. So actually, I was thinking about something when I went to reheat my coffee. I was thinking about something here. The copy trade idea thing, as in copying the trades, is not terrible, but you just can't break the risk rules. You can't go more than 1%. And I was thinking about that. I was going, because we might have, hypothetically, 2 winning trades today, and then, let's say, 2 losing trades tomorrow. Or let's say the other way around. Maybe I have 2 losing trades today and 2 winning trades tomorrow, but somebody decides to go 5% on each trade, and then their account's 10% down today. And so when tomorrow comes around, they're like, I can't go in at 10%, I'll go in at like 1%, I'll behave. And then they are winning trades, but now you're back up 2%. And so what happens is if that you keep exceeding the risk amounts when you have a bad patch, it does more damage. So you've got to work backwards from the damage part. You've got to say, this is the most damage I can handle. And then ideally, at least that part's taken care of. So first of all, from a regulation perspective, I have to be very clear, obviously. You're not supposed to copy my trades. You shouldn't be doing that. Having said that, I can't stop you from doing that. And if you are going to do it, the one thing I would just say to you is, you just never exceed that 1%. You just never, ever, ever do that. You always have a stop loss. You don't do that. Because if I do this 10 days in a row, there will be losing trades in amongst it. There will be. So there will be. And so you just don't want those losing trades to be the ones that just destroy your love for trading. Your losses should be always contained and always something you can move on from. You're like, okay, that was a losing trade. Let's move on. And your winners are like it. That's where the patience comes from. You've got to have that patience. So my point is this, is that yes, I'm thinking of doing this maybe once or twice a week because I'm going to be at my desk anyway. Yeah. And that's the thing, right, is weirdly, the only way to get your confidence up and to get your experience up is to take trades. And you just have to take trades. You're just going to have to do that. This is starting to look quite bearish. So, I mean, because this is how trading kind of works. Overall, I could be right about the direction, but it could go up, stop me out, and keep going. And that happens. So you want to pick a chart where the flow of price is at least you're going in that direction. And then if you can, you want to get a really good entry. And even then you want to make sure that you're prepared for the fact that it might, like you've got to think of the market as like a tiger. Like if you relax and you like never trust it to be kind to you. You stack everything in your favor, and even then you just trade aggressively. And so this is not the same as investing. This is today, I'm just looking for what the market looks like it wants to do for the next few hours. And then after that, it could be something else. So yeah, but this is looking nice. I like that. This hasn't triggered yet, so that's fine. And also that's another reason why I use pending orders. I use pending orders because I get a setup and then the market has to follow through and then trigger me in. So in other words, every little thing is stacking up that the market has to show me where it wants to go. So we'll see. We'll see. This is a miniature. It's a little miniature triangle there. Miniature triangle there. So if you go down to the 1 minute, you will see a descending triangle forming here. A little bit of a level there. Anyway, let's go back up to that. So that's looking like it's going to break lower. So that looks okay so far. But again, annoying. I should be getting in here and not there. This one's in the money. So slight differences between brokers. I like JT Markets. I like them. They're relatively new. Small brokers can be great. I mean, the people behind it are not new, but the broker's relatively new. But small brokers can be amazing because they try harder and they're more competitive. So you get good discounts on stuff. So effectively, your discounts are on your spreads. And so small brokers are equally regulated and can offer really good, some very good spreads. Sometimes the really big brokers can be quite lazy. They're not worried, like they're not interested in if you have a 10 grand account. Not interested because it's too small for them. If you've got $1 million or 500,000, then they love you. And then they'll give you good spreads, but otherwise they won't. So you don't really get the benefit with a small account with a big broker that you do with maybe a medium broker. Excuse me. Okay. Still waiting for this thing to break through. So let's go have a look at everything else. So you can, if you want, you can go through and scan everything again, but I don't think that anything has changed. Both are trivial, and the plumbing is already in place. T-shirt size. So when I code stuff, I ask it to give me a t-shirt size as to how much effort it is. So this is telling me it's a small t-shirt, meaning it's very little effort to code it in. If it's extra large, then it's a lot of effort. I pinched that from my nieces and my sister because that's how they talk about their jobs. Task. How much effort is this task? Okay. So, yeah. Go for it. It's fine. Yeah, there we go. So it's going to auto detect that. So you kind of, when you develop a tool, you want it to be the stuff that you find yourself wanting to know the most often. So account balance or the risk, what is the spread? Now I'm going to add a countdown clock. So I can have it on the chart, but I might as well have it, and it gives me 5 minutes until the candle expires or whatever. So that's going to show up here. I can preset my risk amounts. I can switch between order types. And I can have it expire. So for day trading, you want to make sure that you don't have an order sitting here and then you forget about it and then it triggers tomorrow. So it's got a preset between those. Then when I set buy or sell, it puts in the stop loss and the targets immediately. It currently defaults to these settings. So risk preset, I can take partial profits, so I can have exit things. Profit targets. Right now, final take profit is 1-to-1, so I'm only trading 1-to-1. So just to be clear, I'm going to repeat this. 1-to-1 is your last resort. It should be 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 on average. Lately, because of the way the volatility in the markets happens, I transitioned to 1-to-1 and taking some money halfway there. And I found that the accounts just started to grow because prior to that, the markets were just not, especially in Forex. They were just not, trends were just not happening. So I'm reiterating that this is not best practice. This is current practice, but not best practice. And then you can have an auto trail if you want. So all these things are just built in. Colors and various other things. And then I place the order. I can also adjust it while we go. And the cool thing is, if I accidentally lose the expert advisor, I can drag it back on. It'll look for any open trades, identify it, and then just pull it back under management again. So that's pretty cool. And those things don't happen automatically. You have to tell it, make sure this happens. Cool. Just waiting for this to go, man. Yeah, let's have a look. Anything new? Breaking up, that's good. Nothing yet. Breaking up. Yeah, so this is going to go up and then down and then back, which means it's not going to trigger for in the next hour. And then dollar index is looking good. That's fine. This is just a mess. Look at how it was trending and now it's gone sideways. And what's changed? Well, we've gone from the overnight session to the London session. It's just not doing anything. And that happens. It happens. And this is a mess now. So this doesn't know what it wants to do. This is a bit of a mess. That doesn't know what it wants to do. That doesn't know what it wants to do. This one looks fine so far. We'll see. It's triggered. We'll see if it's going to keep going. So out of every single thing, we haven't missed any trades. There haven't been any other trades so far. Yesterday, for example, there were a ton of trades, but today, not so much. So if we go back to Forex and we have a look, Euro Yen, nothing. That's probably intervention stuff. Let's have a look. Dollar Yen. Dollar Yen. Dollar Yen, intervention, pushing back. Euro Yen, pushing. Pound Yen, pushing. Kiwi Yen. That's intervention. Why do I say that? Because we had it yesterday. We had intervention yesterday and we had it last couple of weeks ago. Yeah. But it seems as though every time they push, somebody's buying back. So this is a bit of an interesting, there's probably an institution that is buying back against the yen. Because some people have been in this industry for so long that they've seen this stuff over the last 30 years. And what they realize is that in the beginning, every time there's intervention, you can take the opposite side and the market will come back a bit, like almost like overextension, and then it'll correct back. So somebody's buying. Every time it pushes down, someone's buying, which is not the Bank of Japan. It's not what they want. Somebody's doing it. And I don't know who, but somebody. And it's obviously not retail. It's got to be someone with money. Interesting. Look at that. Beautiful. Look at that. Really nice, beautiful break of that very flat level. Beautiful. So it's Euro GBP. Euro Aussie's got nothing. Euro Kiwi, nothing yet. It's trying to turn around. Euro Yen. It's a mess. Euro CAD. It's got a level. Nothing. None of this. This one should be okay. This one should be okay. There is a level. I mean, I am in danger, possibly. If you go here, there is a possible level of support resistance, quite strong over the week. So that's clearly partially what we're... Sorry, let me say that again. I think this is likely why we're battling. What's going on here? But overall, the momentum is on our side, so we'll just see. So what's this one? Go here. Okay. But at least now you can see where that issue is, right there. So we're in a weekly support resistance area. The daily looks good. Daily looks really nice. The daily has consolidated and is pushing on. It's not overextended. So if we are going to push through, this is going to be it. And if it does push back, it's because the level held. So when you're trading, you're trying to find all the dangers, all the red flags. And that level there was the red flag. So if it's a losing trade, that's going to be why. Okay, we'll see. We will see. Just do something here. Touchpad. Okay. Just going to wait on that one. So I wanted to just take you through these so you could see not a huge amount really happening. Because you can only get in on a move on a pullback or a breakout, you have to show me. So right now, there was a pullback at 645 and it went and a pullback and it's gone. So there wasn't a trade there. And again, there's no trade here. Nothing. So we haven't missed anything. Still pushing. Still pushing. Aussie dollar. Yeah, nothing. And pound Kiwi. That's it. So there's nothing else going on. So that was partly why I wanted to stream this, so that you could see the whole process, and also, most importantly, I know that FOMO feeling, that feeling of there's got to be trade somewhere, it's got to be happening. There's nothing happening here. Unless you decided you wanted to trade stocks. So let's say you said, okay, I want to trade stocks. So now we would go, obviously the US isn't open yet, unless you want to trade futures or the US markets, you'd go to UK stocks. Okay. Then what you would do is go through these. So most of these, you'd want to be looking for the same things. Nice liquidity. Where's it going to go? Nice trend. This is good. So actually, if your broker also allows you to trade stocks, that's a bonus. MT5, so I don't know which platforms you guys are using, but if you have a broker that is offering you cash trading on stocks on MT5 and has decent spreads and is regulated, fantastic. Fantastic. Like this one's getting ready to turn on. Babcock's getting ready to turn on. Why? Nice level of support. And it's a double bottom, bullish engulfing bar. You could see it, bullish divergence. So Usman, if you're there, this one is getting ready to turn around. Looks good. Yeah, look at this. Beautiful. They're all going in the same direction. And this is what you should be getting in your currencies and your commodities. We're not quite there yet. But these all look good. So if you can trade these, that is a great alternative. Don't feel that you only have to trade Forex. So I'm going to go back to this list. I want to show you something. So gold. I'm of the belief that gold is probably going to turn around soon. It may not. I could be wrong, but it's a good place for it to do it. And so far I'm seeing signs of it doing it. So in order for me to be, for me to change that belief or that expectation, I just have to see it close below this level. Then it's probably going to continue down. But gold has had a nice correction. It's in a really good place. I'm looking for it to turn around. So what am I looking for? This is what I'm talking you through this. I'm looking for it to start going from lower highs, lower lows into high lows, high highs. And also when it does that, it'll almost always break that bearish momentum, that angular momentum. So trend lines to me are not really useful other than as an angle. So when it's going down at this angle, then it comes up and it breaks that, it's changing its bearish sentiment is turning into bullish sentiment. And that's where it's very reliable, like very reliable. The reason I'm showing you this now is because this is on my watch list this week. If gold and silver turn bullish, I'm going to be looking for lots of buy trades throughout the rest of the week. So if this turns bullish today, tomorrow, I'm going to be looking for buys on gold and silver as for like the rest of the week, probably Wednesday, Thursday, and a bit of Friday. Okay. So again, what I'm doing here is I'm mapping out what I expect it to do based on experience. And if it doesn't do that, then my analysis needs to be updated. Doesn't mean my analysis is wrong. It's just that it's not up to date. It's kind of like somebody far away from you throws a ball towards you, and you can see, and from experience, because you've played ball with someone, you've played catch before, you can see the arc of it. So that's why people go, okay, I've got to move over here. Now imagine that it's about a third of the way through its journey, or halfway through the journey, and then you see it wobble in the air like this, like it got hit by a bit of wind. And then you can see its trajectory is changing. So now you have to move, and that's what happens. We know when we play catch that you move to where the ball's going. And if it changes its trajectory in the air, you adjust. It's the same with trading. This is my expectation of its trajectory based on experience. And if it starts changing and deviates from that, I will then update. Because it could do this, it could do this. It could go like this. Whatever. But I'm just saying I'm expecting it to turn around. So I'm looking for turnaround patterns. I'm looking for double bottoms, head and shoulders, maybe a straight up break higher. This level is going to be, this one here will be significant. This level here will be significant, which is 4167. I'm not sure why we'll put that. So because when it breaks above that, that's a great level of support. So there might be a couple of buy trades tomorrow, maybe today, tomorrow, if it does start to go that way, in here. And then after that, that's where I'll be looking for that. And the beauty is, you know from this where it can go to. So once it starts going up, it's going to go to 4.2, maybe 4.3, then it's going to go close to 4.4. So you can kind of see where it's going to go after that. Does everything I'm telling you guys make sense? Is it logical? Meantime, let's go see how the trades are doing. I've only taken the one. It's looking okay. It's looking okay so far. It's fine. I also have a script that cleans up the lines. So where is it? Any questions, guys? Any questions? So a big part of the reason I take profit at halfway now is because if it only goes halfway, I can probably get this trade to not lose any money. And that's my primary goal. Not just to make money, but to make sure it's two different things, by the way, guys. You have to learn two different skills. This is an old account. It's an old one. You have to learn two different skills. You have to learn not just how to make money, but how to not lose money. And those are two different sets of skills. So when I talk about my stop loss management and my profit taking stuff, that's how to not lose money. And so that's my primary concern. So I'm just going to take this. I'm going to copy this across to this account here. First thing I want to do is make sure clean up all objects. There we go. First thing I want to do is make sure I don't lose money. So that's what the partial profits and the stop loss management for. It's like that dragon that's protecting the money that you have, your gold in the cave, so to speak. You want to make sure that you don't lose money. And that has to be a habit. Obviously, after that, everything becomes profit. Yeah. There we go. So this is looking good so far. That looks okay so far. I'm happy with it. Again, things can change once you're in the trade, right? And the longer you're in the trade, the more time there is for things to change. So you kind of want to make sure that isn't the case. Look how long it's taking me to go into profit on this one. And that's going to trigger soon. That looked really good. If you could have got in here with your stop loss there, that would be amazing. Because by the time you get down to these lows, you already can take profit off the table. So your first step, ideally, is to, is to do that. Okay, let's close this stuff. What else we got going on? Oh, I need to give my dog breakfast. Cool. Line slightly, state pips. Okay. All right, I'll do that. What does the other account look like? I'm going to close this. What does the other one look like? Nope, that's all good. So it's this one and this one. That's in the money. It's fine. So I'm copying from the MT4 to the MT5. So that's the master versus the slave, and then it goes across to the VPS as well. And the nice thing about it being a cloud copier is that it, excuse me, is that it just needs the account to get across. I don't need to have it open on multiple platforms. I don't have to do that. So guys, what I'm going to do, I'm going to step away to feed my dog, which takes like 5 minutes. I'm going to leave this open so we can just watch it unfold. And I'm going to be in the background and then I'll come back. So if you guys want to get yourselves a cup of coffee or something, do it. But yeah, I'm just going to do that. Okay. Might have to go and check on my dog. This looks okay. Again, guys, ideally entry here, stop loss here, nice and tight, 3-1 or 2-1. But spreads become a bit of a factor. The 15 minutes is better to trade because the spreads in relation to your entry and stop loss and the noise are just better on the 15 minutes. Once you get down to the 5 minutes, it's ridiculous. Like, unless you have incredibly tight spreads, it's not with you are. But I think a lot of new traders are convinced that somehow that's the key to everything. Right. So yeah, I still haven't been triggered. And this would have been the best place to get in, right there, there and there. And be in the money already. I haven't been triggered yet. So it's frustrating. Because by the time I get triggered, it's going to hit this level here. And then it's going to be like, do I want to keep going or not? Whatever the, you know, what's the story? So again, in this one, get some profit there, get the stop, and then make a decision. So if it starts heading down towards that level, I might then move the stop loss to my entry. We'll see. And if you go to the other account, you can see that's in the money anyway. It's not very much. So now you wait. Hey! Hi, Michael. Long time no see. I was actually thinking about you the other day. The fiance went to your side of the world and said she had a lovely time. And I still haven't been. So, yeah. So, just to recap. We went through the markets. From the start of the session, we went through everything. We went through all the currency pairs. We went through the indices. We went through all the commodities. Good. I'm still going to come visit. What I mean by that is, as soon as I know I'm going there, I'll give you a shout. Okay. Malta. It's on the list. So, there's nothing here really. I'm waiting for gold and silver to turn around. And so in order for that to be the case, I've mapped out what I expect, roughly what I expect price should do if that is going to be the case. Okay. I've gone through the indices. I'm still principally bullish on the indices, but there are no setups for this morning's session because I forgot to tell you guys, I've been up since 3:30. I just woke up and I couldn't get back to sleep. So that's not normal. I normally wake up at 5 when and I go drop the wife off. So I've been up. Alright, so I'm definitely having a nap later today. So that's what I'm looking for. We've looked at the majors. I'm expecting a stronger dollar. Because over here I want to see that US dollar start to break higher. And actually, it's literally been playing out almost as per our plan. We came in like this area. And I'm short. Have we been triggered in on both? Because this happens. We're triggered in on both trades. So I said to you, we're going to just get triggered in. So it would have been nice to be there and then the money, but we're going to get triggered in and then this could be a potential level of support. So we're going to just see. That we're just going to have to see. Now the markets are very sluggish. They're not really doing very much. So we're just going to have to see what happens with this. But if that dollar is going to strengthen, it should ultimately push through. And once it falls through here, it'll hit its target relatively easily. Hello. Yep. Oh yeah. I'm going to take this off. Oh yeah. Alright, there we go. Oopity. Op. Yes. What's going on there? You understand? Okay, it's good. Sorry, it's my dog. That's my dog. Which reminds me. Just send a message quickly. So what was I going to say to you? Yeah, we're going to see if this level holds. If that dollar's going to strengthen today, it'll break through. And this overall should be good. It should keep going, should be good. Only has to get to there, and I can take some money off the table and I can get it to a break-even trade. This one's a little bit trickier. But it might just come back up to there and then carry on down. So at this point, I have to let it play out. I have to. My stop is in a good place here. If it's going to reverse, then it's just, then that's how it is for today. Because the dollar index is in a place here where it's going to potentially turn around. And if you look, you can see here, this was a bullish candle, that was bearish candle. So there's a bit of a battle going on here. And it doesn't know what it wants to do. And it's possible that it could waffle around today. So I could get triggered in, stopped out, and then tomorrow it'll go. So if I have a losing trade today, I'm not concerned yet, because tomorrow or the next day I can make or potentially will make the money back. It just means I have to have a second bite at the apple. Okay, so that's the logic behind it. We'll see what happens here. That all looks good. Don't need this one. There we go. What else? What else, guys? What else? IG account. JT. It's fine. Break even. It takes a while to get used to increasing your confidence in trading. It takes trades. Like, there's no way around it. You have to take trades. But you have to make sure that every trade you take, like, was consciously chosen because you stacked the probabilities in your favor. And in order to do that, you have to learn how to identify probabilities. What is a good probability? What's a low probability? And weirdly, getting good at that means you have to be able to identify where are the potholes in this trade setup? Where's the red flags? Where's the weak stuff in this trade setup? So in this one, I don't think there really are. Overall, I think this looks really good, except for that one big one, which is that there's a weekly resistance level right there. So yes, could we break? I could get triggered in, stopped out, and then later in the week it does break through, or maybe 3 weeks from now it breaks through, or maybe today it breaks through. So, but did I pick the trade itself was great? Yeah, but I happened to get in just around a key level where it could be a problem. So again, as long as I can get to that point there, I can take half the money off the table, and then I can't lose money on this trade. And so, as I said, there are 2 skills you have to develop, which are separate skills. Learn how to not lose money. Learn where to put your stop loss. Have a plan to take partial profits off the table. Get your trade to break even. Think about how different you'd feel if at the end of the week you took 10 trades and didn't lose any money. So maybe the markets were funny and you took 10 trades, but you didn't lose any money because you were taking money as you went and you updated your stop loss, even though, versus if you'd taken the same 10 trades and one of those was a full loss and you lost money. So at the end of the week, you'd still feel bad. You'd still be like, oh, I still lost money, even though I did 10 trades. Obviously, in a perfect world, you'd take 10 trades and make money on 8 of them and then be break even on the other 2. That would be amazing. But let's imagine there was a funny week like that. And you were still like, this was a funny week and I still managed to not lose a penny. That's amazing. So, because what that does is it makes you feel like, you know what, I can go into the next week and I have control over my losses. That's what it really does, is it makes you feel like you have control over you can control your losses. And when you get to that place, which you can, then you're a different trader. So in the beginning, you're so excited on the idea of making money that you tend to be looking the wrong way. You focus on, what if this makes me this much money? That's great. And the problem with that is that it often makes us miss the danger spots. So we take the trade anyway. And then after a while, you get tired of that because you realize you took a lot of trades and you knew there was possibly a bit of a weakness in it. And then that weakness became the problem, the reason the trade was a losing trade. Excuse me. So So you eventually get to a place where when you take a trade setup, you know why it should go in a particular direction, because your technical skills have got so good that you can read the price action for the short term. Technical traders are better at predicting the immediate next likely move the market is going to make. That's what they're very good at. It's not our job as a technical trader to argue where gold's going to be in 6 months' time, or where the stock markets will be in 6 months' time. But we're very good at going, this is where I think it's going to go this week. Or this is where it's most likely going to go this week. And that's amazing. And that's what you make money on. So yeah. And then it's patience. Like, I'm just going to have to let this play out. It's too soon to tell if this is going to be a losing trade. I can't tell that. But now that I'm in and I've got money on the line, as soon as I got money on the line and I'm in the trade, I'm exposed. Then I'm getting ready to not interfere with the trade, but ideally trying to get it to a position where it can't lose me money. And over the last 100 trades, when I look back, that approach was great. I didn't feel like I missed anything. I didn't feel like I left money on the table. I didn't feel like I needed to mess with it. And that's a good sign. So if you feel like you don't need to mess with anything, it's a really good sign. So right now we just need to get through this level of support. That was great, but there was no way that I could have got to that. And, forget about who the broker is, because this behavior is relatively standard. But I suspect that brokers have done the maths, probably, and gone, first of all, we're going to get our pound of flesh. So we're going to make sure that on the spread, we've also discovered that if we push people's entries further away from the optimal spot, they have more losing trades. They probably worked that out. They're like, listen, if you can't get in at exactly where you want to get in, you can't get into profit fast enough, which means you can't get to break even fast enough. They've worked out if we can move you up by 5 or 6 pips, then it messes with your trade enough that you might not actually be able to, you might have more difficulty in getting to that. Anyway, so now it's just a waiting game. There's nothing else happening. I can go back to my watch list. This is today's watch list and just see where everything is. Euro dollar's pushing back up. You can see there's a battle going on here. Look at this. This is weird behavior. All of this behavior is weird. All of it is strange. There was a beautiful trend, like uptrend, sideways, down, and now it's just gone. So the second we got into like 7 o'clock, it's just doing this. It's acting up. It's weird. It's the London session. Look at this. Now it wants to push back up. High lows, high highs. We'll see how this plays out. Look at that. Level support. So, this is the dollar that's messing us around. It's not the Kiwi or anything. It's the dollar. Dollar does, it's battling. 100. Here's the big level. 101. There. You can see this level. It's fine. When I say it's fine, as in, if you look at the trades. So this is a new account. But if you look at the history, look at the win to loss ratio. So I'm not too stressed. If it's not going to go right, it's not going to go right. That one still looks okay. And that one looks fine. And nothing else is ready. Nothing else is ready here. Pound Kiwi still pushing up. That was our best trade setup so far. Dow, not there yet. This is not there yet. And that's not there yet. That's the pullback. This could be a really good trade setup. We also know that our end target has to be here. Or at least that's where we've got to get to profit on this trade. So I'm just looking for a pullback and then I want to go long. That's it. Okay. And we're above the 50. We're above the 50 period. So this one is getting... Can you guys understand why this one is getting ready to go long? Your weekly trend is going up. Your daily trend is going up. Your daily's just pulled back a bit, so it's not too overextended. And it's gone from a downtrend on the lower time frames to sideways into its breaking to the upside. But we need an uptrend. And it's only an uptrend when you get a high low. So you need to go from this low here, well, that high There's a low, higher high, higher low. You need that shift in trend. And this type of behavior is pretty good. Here you've got lower lows or equal lows. You've got bullish divergence, which is a sign of bullish entering. The markets are generally bullish. The indices are generally bullish. So the wind is at our back here. This should be... Could this go all the way up here? Yes, it could. But if it does come back, I want that buy opportunity. I think with enough time, we will get a better sense of whether there is still more low-hanging fruit to be picked in a given week. Sorry, that's a message to my trading partner. So I'm going to leave that. And that's it. Now, ooh, that's me knocking over my coffee. Fantastic. That's great. It's fantastic. Give me a second. Just having to soak up the coffee that I spilt on the floor. Get it all soaked up. Typical. So, I think what I'm going to do, guys, we can wrap this up. We don't need to keep going. What I will do is the outcome of these, I will post, because this one could still be in play for another hour or two. This one could stop out or be in play. So, we'll see which way this goes. So, what I will do is screen grab this with the outcome as to whatever happens, and I will post it into the community section on the website. So if you go to, if I am on the site, there's a community section, right? Go to the channel. It should be here. There, community, and I'll put it here, like I did this yesterday. So I'll give you the link. So if you guys want it, you can go find it, and then I'll put it there. But I'll let you guys go because this, now we're just in the wait and see thing. And what I'll also do is update the other charts. So in other words, this stuff. That might be getting ready to pull back, and if it does, I'll take the other trade. But guys, we could be here for the next 3 hours, and there's nothing for me to do now. Leave the open trades to play out a bit more, wait for this one to pull back, and then take it. But that's just it. So I hope, would you guys like me to do this again? Do you find this instructive and useful? I know it's a slow process, but it's, but yeah, if it makes a difference, great. So if you like this, let me know. And as I said, I will, if I take this one in the end, I'll let you know, and we'll see what the outcome is with these. Okay. Game's not over yet. You guys okay with that? If you are, I'm going to wrap it up. So what I'll do is, in about the next 30 seconds to a minute, I will just end the broadcast. And then I'll update the community thing, okay? Any questions before we go? Big part of this, guys, was showing you the routine to create the watch list, and then creating the trading plan. Creating the trading plan, and then executing as per the plan. And then just doing that over and over and over and over again. Okay. We'll see what's happening. Markets are acting a little bit funny. There's no follow through. This should have been a follow through. There was no follow through there. Then it's set up here and there's no follow through there. This one should be following through. It's not following through. So it's a bit funny. Doesn't mean it's over yet. It could very well turn around above this low and go back up and break through. It could be fine. Or they could end up both being losing trades. Like that's the worst case scenario, which is fine. Then I'll just make the money. Then that might actually mean that this one ends up becoming the winning trade. And then if this is why we do 2-to-1s and 3-to-1s, so that if you have 2 losing trades and 1 winning one, you are break even or up for the day. That's the whole point of it. But we will see how this goes. It's very cool. You're most welcome, Richard. I'll see you guys. I might do another one this week. Might do another one on like Thursday. Okay. If it goes, I might even do it tomorrow. We'll see. But yeah, I'll update you because we're just going to sit here and you don't need this now. This is now when you would go away and play around a golf or do your emails or do other stuff and move on to that and just wait for them to play out. Okay. I'm going to leave them to either be full losses. Either way, I'm just going to let them play out because they might hold, might still hit target. It's too soon to tell. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Where am I presenting? Actually, not anywhere really right now. But the reason why is because I have like a agreed relationship with Forex Masterclass. But if that changes, or if any of that changes, I will let you know. So I'll put it on YouTube. And I have some ideas. I've got some stuff in the works that I'm quite excited about. And a lot of it is more live trading. I think live trading is really the way to go. Okay. So yeah, I'm not really presenting, like I'm not, Finico Bank aren't really in the UK that much anymore. And I still do some stuff with Trade with Precision. So not really as much as I was. I like moved and I did everything under Forex Masterclass, but I might be changing that soon or expanding it is what I mean to say. Yeah. So appreciate it, guys. I do appreciate it. All right, guys, I'll let you go. Thank you very much. There's about a minute. No, not a minute. There's about a 10-second delay from when I speak to when it shows up on YouTube. So I don't want to just be rude. But all right, guys, I'm going to let you go. Enjoy the rest of your day. I will post the outcome of this trade in the community section, okay? Or I'll do a recap video, something like that. All right, guys, have a good one.